This is the Jeanine Pirro Show. Now, here's Judge Jeanine Pirro.
All right, welcome back to the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. Joining us now is a very busy woman. She is the co-chair of the Republican National Committee. And she is also a very important person in her own right. Her name is Lara Trump. You all know who she is. She's been on the campaign trail. I call her the tip of the spear. She's the one who's out there fighting and making sure that all the votes get counted, making sure that everybody gets out there and knows what the message is from Donald Trump. Please join me in welcoming Lara Trump to the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. All right, Lara, it is Sunday. There are 2 days to go. This past week has been an incredible week, although the upcoming week will be even more incredible. But I just want to touch on a couple things that happened with Joe Biden calling the Trump supporters garbage, which is consistent with what they've been calling us for years, everything from fascist to racist to extremist, to clinging to God and our guns. What is this about?
Yeah, don't forget basket of deplorables. Shout out to Hillary Clinton on that one. Look, this is really the Democrats kind of exposing themselves. Turns out when you dig so deep, which they continue to do, you find yourself at some point. And I think that's really what's gone on here. They really have told you exactly what they think of you. They think you're garbage. They think if you don't go on with along with their radical ideology, if you're not on board with their global approach to things and open borders and all of the crazy stuff that they want to do, then you're garbage and you're no use to them. And they don't really care what you want in your America. They want their America, and they're going to try to get it hell or high water. But I'll tell you, that's why we're working really hard at the RNC, Judge, because as you said, we want to make sure that every legal vote is counted and only legal votes are counted. We've been really proud at the RNC of our election integrity operation. We've already seen in the early voting period how important this has been. I think people probably saw that we had a situation last week in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where during the early vote period there, they were forcing people to leave these early vote locations and get out of line when they were in line well before the time the locations were supposed to close. They said, no, we're closing down early. We filed a lawsuit that forced them to extend early voting up through Friday at 5 p.m. It was 3 extra days that the folks in Bucks County got to vote. These kind of things are important because we want every person out there to feel like when you go vote, your vote matters and your vote counts. And so I think hearing from the Democrats from their own mouths over the past week, but really over the past 8 years, has shed a lot of light on why these people are dangerous. I think it's why you've seen the early vote totals as high as they have been. And it's why we're doing everything we can at the RNC to make sure that we have a free, fair, and transparent election and we get everyone out to vote.
Well, in addition to that, in Virginia, it was the Biden administration who tried to prevent Governor Youngkin from removing 1,600 self-identified illegal non-citizens, from preventing him from removing them from the voting rolls. I mean, think about it. If the Biden administration doesn't want you to remove illegals from the voting rolls, and by the way, if you're an illegal and you vote, that is a crime in itself. It is stunning what they do. It is stunning that what they do is the opposite of what they say they're doing. And, it's kind of interesting. I think it was Karl Marx who said, accuse your enemy of what you were doing as you were doing it to create confusion. And that's what we're seeing. But thank goodness the Supreme Court came down and said, no. You're not going to do that. We don't care about this 90-day quiet period. You're not going to allow illegals to openly, self-identified as illegals, openly vote.
It's crazy.
But, all right.
Crazy.
So it is crazy. Now let's talk about, there are still people, I didn't believe it, Lara Trump, not in a million years, but I went to get my hair done, get it colored. I'll admit to all my listeners, I got my hair colored. And the guy's coloring my hair said to me, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. Well, that poor guy for the next 30 minutes while he pasted the color on my hair, I'm going, you're doing this and this and this. To him. I did. But what do you say to those people who are still not decided? I didn't believe there were any.
I think my message has continually been, and I think it gets more apparent as we get closer, as you say, look, we're 2 days away from this election. Take the names Donald Trump and Kamala Harris out of this race. Close your eyes and think about how your life feels right now and how your life felt 4 years ago with Donald Trump in the White House. And any person who is being honest will say, my life was better off with Donald Trump in that White House. That's how you have to vote. That is why whenever people are going into these polling locations, Judge, I actually believe a lot of people are telling their friends who might live in very blue areas, yeah, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. I believe they're voting for Donald Trump. I think you've seen these in-person early voting numbers have been through the roof for Republicans. But I think that we really are at a time in our country where you hear it every 4 years how important an election is, but you actually can feel it right now. And so my advice to everyone, if you have friends out there who don't know how they're voting, and again, I agree with you, I don't know how on earth you could possibly not have made up your mind, but it's about your life, your quality of life. And if people are being honest with themselves, we were so much better off with Donald Trump in the White House, with a secure border, with a great economy, with job growth in this country, with safety and security, a stable world because we were strong. It was peace through strength. Those are things that are very important, not just to us here in America, but to the entire world. And they were palpable. You could feel them. And that's how I always encourage people to think about it. And maybe some advice you want to talk about with some of your friends out there as we head towards Tuesday.
And, when you say to people, look, in addition to, how your life is now compared to how it was then, I mean, to me, every time Kamala Harris opens her mouth and she doesn't have an answer to a question other than she grew up in the middle class, you have to ask yourself, if she says, when I become president, and by the way, her speech at the Ellipse this past week, she actually said that she's going to basically close the border and she's not going to allow people to cross the border. I was absolutely stunned. And she always says on day one, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop the cartels. We're going to stop the human trafficking. If you had a heart, Kamala Harris, why wouldn't you be doing it now? If you believe that there is price gouging, which accounts for the increase of over 25% in food, why wouldn't you deal with it now? Don't you have empathy for the 300,000 kids who are missing at the border? You keep telling us you're a prosecutor. A prosecutor in me says I get my butt down there with every United States attorney, every attorney general. Start prosecuting these cases. Find these children because they're being sex trafficked, they're being abused, they're being used in child labor, or they're dead.
No, exactly. That's the question a lot of people have. Why is it that you are making these big promises? Why haven't you done it? You have been there for nearly 4 years, right alongside Joe Biden. And I think the problem is she knows that she's not believable. Look, the Democrats have peddled so many lies to the American people. And one of maybe the most egregious lies is about Joe Biden's fitness for the office of president. She lied to people about it. She continued to lie to people about it while he was in office, right up until the 11th hour, whenever they ousted him, kicked him right out. And, it really lends itself to a place where people are saying, well, I don't know. Can I trust these people? Why would I believe Kamala Harris if she says she's going to do all these things? And a lot of people really are asking themselves that question. And I think that whenever you have a track record that is abysmal, when you have a track record of failure at the southern border, when you have a track record of allowing our enemies to enrich themselves, embolden themselves, commit atrocities like we saw in Israel on October 7th of last year, have Russia invade Ukraine. These are really scary times for not just America, but the entire world.
All right, everybody, you heard it from Lara Trump. She's on the trail, so we're going to let her go. God bless you, Lara Trump. Thank you for joining us on the Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. Thank you, Laura.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. God bless. All right, everybody. She's the best. I'm thrilled that she was able to give us some time. The woman is a machine. She literally goes 24/7. And she's got 2 little kids. I think she's got at least 3 rescue dogs. She is a superwoman, and she is very, very special. And never forget, everyone, join the Tunnel to Towers Foundation on its mission to do good in honor of America's heroes. Donate $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
They don't call her confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.